Welcome back to another episode of Tailgate Talk SEC. I am Will Thomas, and we have got your Monday, January 5th transfer portal update. Now, there are some big names that have kind of made some headlines today, so let's get straight into it, starting off with Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss's quarterback. Now, he obviously has that waiver pending on whether or not he will even be eligible to play college football next year. But now we know one thing for sure is that if he does come back, it will be at Ole Miss. Him and the Rebels do have an agreement to bring Chambliss back to Oxford next year, much to the dismay of a lot of LSU fans. But Trinidad Chambliss, man, I mean, there's this wave of quarterbacks, right, who are older quarterbacks. You saw it with Diego Pavia. Now you're seeing it with guys like Joey Aguilar, now Chambliss. A bunch of older veteran guys who have grounds and are applying for an extra year of eligibility. And with Chambliss, you've seen what he's been able to do in the playoffs so far. The plays that he made against Georgia. Now his potential to go beat Miami and play for a national championship. There's no reason that he can't be viewed as one of the premier quarterbacks in the country. Even if he is a little reckless at times, he is still incredibly talented, and what he's done on the field cannot be ignored. So Trinidad Chambliss, now he's either going to be at Ole Miss or the NFL. It's great news for the Rebels and for Pete Golding. Elsewhere in the SEC at other quarterbacks, Deuce Knight from Auburn, he has now officially hit the transfer portal. I think that, this took a minute once the portal opened for him to actually officially enter, and part of that is because I think he was sort of waiting on, is Byron Brown coming to Auburn with Alex Golesh? Because if Golesh brought in Byron Brown, Deuce really wasn't going to start. It was going to go to the quarterback with more seniority, the one who Golesh had much more familiarity with. So the fact that Deuce Knight is now officially in the portal makes me think that we are just, it's not an if but when Byron Brown gets announced to Auburn before Deuce. The tie really has been to Ole Miss. But so now with him in the portal, does he still go to Ole Miss if Chambliss might be coming back? Because if Chambliss is still there, Deuce isn't going to go there and take Chambliss' job. So it is a lot of dominoes that still need to fall, but Deuce Knight from Auburn is officially in the portal. DJ Lagway, the former Florida quarterback, he took a visit to FSU today. He is now going to Virginia for another visit, but the visit to FSU apparently went very well. He was described as being on cloud nine afterwards because offensive coordinator for the Noles, Gus Malzahn, compared him to Cam Newton. Now, I'll let you guys do what you want to do with that comparison. I'm not really sure that's what I would say. I mean, maybe as a prospect I would have, but now that we've seen him play out, he's too injury prone, the mechanics aren't there. I think Cam Newton might be a little bit of an aggressive comp, but the visit to FSU went very well. He is still on track to go visit Virginia, but DJ Lagway is very much in the weeds of his transfer portal decision. And Ashton Daniels, an Auburn transfer, he also made it to Tallahassee. We don't have reports from that visit yet, but FSU is vetting their quarterback options very, very, very well. Antwann Hill, the quarterback at Memphis, who didn't play much this year, but he was a very highly touted freshman. He is following Ryan Silverfield to Arkansas. So the Razorbacks, they're losing Taylor Green this year. They're just bringing in another alien at quarterback. Antwann Hill has all the athletic tools you could really ask for in a quarterback. He's obviously unproven, not having played a whole lot, being on the bench this past season with the Tigers, but Antwann Hill is one of the most exciting players really already in the SEC. The potential for him is sky high, and we'll see what it looks like at Arkansas with Silverfield, but Antwann Hill moving up to the SEC and going to Fayetteville with his head coach. Gio Lopez, another quarterback from North Carolina, he is hitting the portal. He is leaving. This is probably just a domino from Billy Edwards announcing that he is transferring to North Carolina. Now Gio Lopez is transferring out. We don't have much intel on what Gio is doing yet, but that will be the changing of the guard in Chapel Hill. Omarion Miller, the receiver from Colorado, he totaled over 800 yards and 8 scores this season. He is transferring to Arizona State, and I like this move a lot. He's staying in the Big 12. He's going to a program that in theory has a better passing offense than Colorado, at least one that you can trust a little bit more. He'll have Cutter Boley throwing him the ball. I'm pretty high on Boley personally, so I do like that move for Omarion Miller, and I expect him to be just as dominant in the Big 12. Even though he's moving up to Arizona State, he should be very, very electric next year. A little more boring here. Let's just go to the offensive line. Harrison Moore. He was a center at Georgia Tech. He is transferring to Florida. This is just more continuation of the wave of Yellow Jackets going to Gainesville following Buster Faulkner. Aaron Philo we thought he was committed. He hasn't yet officially committed to Florida yet. But Bailey Stockton, a receiver from Georgia Tech, he is also committed to Florida. So Stockton and Harrison Moore are locked in. Aaron Philo is all but signed on. So a lot of Yellow Jackets are going to Gainesville. Izaiah Williams, a Texas A&M receiver, he was a former blue chip recruit. He is going to Kansas State. He is helping them fill in that void of Jace Brown transferring out. But he's coming with Colin Klein, A&M's OC, who is now Kansas State's head coach. He's coming with his OC. So there is familiarity there between Klein and Williams. I expect Izaiah Williams to break out in a pretty big way. He will now be one of their feature receivers at Kansas State. He really wasn't there with the Aggies this past season because of Craver, Concepcion, Bethel Roman, all those guys that were taking those reps. So I expect Izaiah Williams to be a guy who he was, talked about a good bit as a recruit, not as much in College Station, but I expect him to break out in a pretty good way with Kansas State next year. And our final little guy right here. I should not say little guy. I'm talking about Quay Russaw here. He's a former 5-star defender. He's leaving Alabama. He's hitting the portal. He hasn't really panned out the way that, he was expected to as a recruit. But I think, moving somewhere else, he should have no problem getting calls from bigger schools. I mean, this guy is such a freak of an athlete. His athletic profile speaks for itself. He doesn't have great production yet, but I blame that on reps. I think Quay Russaw is going to be very, very good wherever he ends up. We don't have intel on that yet, but we will be tracking that as much as we can. And there we go. Another quick transfer portal update video for you guys for Monday, January 5th. If you have been enjoying this stuff or you're just trying to follow the madness that is this portal, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok. I'm doing all of it to the best of my ability. Granted, but this transfer portal is crazy. I am trying to make it as simple as possible and as easy to follow. So thank you for watching this episode of Tailgate Talk SEC. I've been Will Thomas, and I will see you next time.